Hey guys, welcome back to the channel Football Predictions and High Value Odds. And today I'm going to be giving out picks for Friday and Saturday, so for the first part of the weekend. And then I'm going to release another video on Saturday for the Sundays and Mondays picks. Now, for the newcomers, I always suggest on this channel to start betting on goals and single games. And I try to provide you with the best information that I can about the games. Then it's up to you to choose them or not. Now, before we get into the picks for Friday, let's review what we had yesterday night, and we're actually starting off the month 3 for 3, so perfect. Congrats to whoever took the bets, but let's review it. So we had Newcastle against Man United. That was pretty easy. We had Newcastle over 1. And the odds were around 190, and that was done and dusted pretty easy. I mean, it was 0-3, just like Man United's last game against Man City. So terrible back-to-back losses for Man United, but not surprising. Then we had Fleetwood Blackpool over 1 goal. That game had a lot of goals, 3-3, good for us. And then the last game we had also in the EPL Cup, Ipswich against Fulham. We had BTTS. I actually expected more from Ipswich. I thought they would score more than 1 goal, but at the end of the day, that bet went through. Let's also talk about the Tuesday's picks that we had in the previous video. You can always check out the previous videos to see what we're trying to achieve on this channel. So we had Barrow against Morecambe. I thought Morecambe was going to be scoring 1 goal, and they didn't. Barrow was continuing their crazy streak at home without conceding. So we lost that bet, even though I would have taken that bet again with how well Morecambe was performing away. And I love the over 0.5 bet. As I say, it's the greatest bet of all time. Then we had Lincoln Oxford over 1 goal, and they managed to score 2 goals. We won that bet. They actually won that game 0-2. And the reason I took that bet is because they were in a slump and they're still second place right now. Then we had Stuttgart over 1.5. They managed to win that game 1-0. So they were content with that result, but we lost the bet. And yes, this is the danger of having the over 1.5 bet. As you've seen in the previous video, a lot of times we took the over 1.5 and then the team ended up winning just 1-0, the team that we bet on. Then we had Borussia against Heidenheim. Heidenheim just to score. They managed to do that a bit in the end, but yeah, we'll take it. And for the last game, we had Unter against Dusseldorf. That was a crazy game. It finished 3-3. We had Dusseldorf over 1.5. So yeah, great start to the month, and let's continue that trend going into the weekend. Let's start off with the Friday's picks. Let's go to La Liga, a game between Las Palmas and Atletico. Now Atletico, we've been taking it almost every single time now because they're riding an 8-game streak of scoring 2 or more goals, and they have the best attack along with Girona in the Spanish league. Now, as of late, Las Palmas has been really impressive. They have won 5 out of the 7 games that they played in previously. And the stat that I like in this game is that they still haven't conceded over 1 goal at home this season, and also in the previous 5 games. So my first tip would be is to ride with Atletico again to take the over 1.5, and the bookies are giving us again really decent odds at 183. So this will be my first tip on Friday, but I wouldn't blame you if you're gonna leave this game out because Atletico's streak will end sometime, and hopefully it's not this game. Now, for the second pick, we head to Serie A game between Bologna and Lazio. Now, those 2 teams are right next to each other at the table, and Lazio has been really impressive in Serie A. 3 straight victories, and the last 2 games they didn't concede. We actually had Fiorentina over 1 goal. They didn't manage to score to Lazio. Lazio won that game 1-0 right at the buzzer from a penalty kick. And their opponent, Bologna, is so good at home. I've been really impressed with them all year long. It's not surprising because Thiago Motta is their coach. I keep saying it's his last year in Bologna, but they only lost 1 game at home, and that was early in the season. They lost 0-2 to Milan, but since then they have been really good and dominant, and I believe they'll cause Lazio some trouble in this game. So my second tip would be Bologna over 1 goal against Lazio. The bookies are currently giving us odds 163, and I just think Lazio is not going to go 4 victories in a row. I hope this game doesn't end 0-0, but my other tip would be for you guys, if you don't have the over 1 bet, is just to take Bologna to score. The odds are currently about 130 now, but Bologna over 1 goal against Lazio is my second tip. Now, for the third pick, we head to Bulgaria for the first time this year, a game between Botev Plovdiv versus Lokomotiv Plovdiv, and that makes it the Plovdiv derby. Now, let's look at the table. Botev is currently in the relegation zone, while Lokomotiv is 1 point away from the first place. And the reason I like this game is that Lokomotiv is in a big slump right now. They haven't won in 5 consecutive games, and they're still second place. While Botev is a solid team at home, but I have to go here with the favorite. I like the bet here of over 1 goal for Lokomotiv. It's at 191, but I would suggest you guys take Lokomotiv just to score. It is the derby afterwards, and hopefully there's going to be goals in there, but I'm going with the favorite. So my third tip would be Lokomotiv Plovdiv for odds 191 over 1 goal. Now for the fourth and the final pick, we head to the Croatian First Division, a game between Lokomotiv and Rijeka. Now Rijeka is in the top of the table. They're 12 points ahead of Lokomotiv, which is currently in the 7th place. And the reason I like this game is that Lokomotiv still hasn't lost at home this season. However, they are riding a streak of 3 games where they haven't won. It's 2 draws and 1 loss. And Rijeka has been impressive. The last time that they lost was back in August. And there's one stat that I like about this game, that they haven't scored over 1 goal in 3 consecutive games. And I'm going to go here with the favorite again. The odds aren't great. They're about 145. So my fourth tip would be Rijeka over 1 goal. Now, there's also one more game that I want you to look into. It's Espanyol against Eibar. Now, both those teams are fighting to get into La Liga. Eibar is currently 2nd, while Espanyol is 4th. And the reason I dropped this game, just because it's the Spanish 2nd division, there's a lot of under 2.5 games. But the reason I like this game is because Eibar has been absolutely dominant away. They have scored 2 or more goals in the previous 5 games, and the bookies are giving us odds 150 for them just to score against Espanyol. But anyway, look into it. I dropped it out, and let's see how it goes on Friday. Now let's start off with the Saturday's games, and let's head to the Premier League. This is a risky one, a game between Everton and Brighton. Now, after having a great start to the season, Brighton hasn't won a game in over a month, while Everton is doing much better. They're on the come up, 3 victories in the last 5 games in the league, and they actually beat Burnley last night 3-0 at home. But I'm gonna roll with Brighton here to break through their crisis modes, and I'm expecting them to score over 1.5 goals. The odds are currently at 184. Guys, let me know what you think about this bet. If you're gonna take it, what would it be? Now for the second tip, let's head to the Championship and let's check out the team that we have been winning money on, which is Preston. They're playing Coventry City at home, and they're still in a huge slump. In the last 7 games, they have 3 draws and 4 losses. And they're only 1 point away still from the promotion zone, while Coventry is riding a 3-game losing streak where they haven't scored a goal. Now, by the stats, I would go BTTS here, but as I said, you gotta go with the team that you've been winning money on, and that is Preston. I'm gonna be taking Preston over 1 goal, and my tip for you guys would be for Preston just to score, and the odds are also decent on that. It's at 138, but I'm gonna be taking over 1 goal for odds 180. Now, for the third pick, let's head to Serie A, a game between Milan and Udinese. We had Milan last week over 1 goal against Napoli, 2-2. And also the previous week, we had them against PSG, but PSG to score over 1.5. And that was 3-0. So we won both bets on Milan because before that they were on our blacklist. So now they're out of it officially. So let's continue winning on them. While Milan is dealing with some injuries this year as usual, they actually lost 2 defenders last game against Napoli. And now they haven't won in 3 consecutive games. And if they want to continue the Scudetto race, they have to beat the smaller teams. And Udinese, along with Salernitana, are the only teams that still haven't won a game in Serie A. They're coming off 7 draws and 3 losses. So I'm going to be riding with Milan here. I really hope they don't win this game 1-0 because I'm going to be taking over 1.5 goals. The odds are currently not too happy about that at 157, so they may rise before the game. So that's going to be my third tip, that Milan will score over 1.5 goals against Udinese. Now for the fourth pick, we stay in the Serie A, a game between Atalanta and Inter. Now those 2 teams are probably in the best form along with Juventus. And this game is all about the stats. Now, Atalanta haven't conceded in 5 consecutive games at home this season, which is pretty wild because they're usually a BTTS team. And Inter haven't conceded in 3 consecutive games away. And I believe those streaks are going to be eliminated. I believe that both teams are going to be scoring. And my fourth tip would be BTTS. The bookies are currently giving us odds 166. Now, for the fifth and the final pick, we head to the Bundesliga. I was undecided between 2 games, but I chose this one, which is Dortmund against Bayern. And the other one I'm going to present you as well. Now, this is a huge game, of course, for the title race and also for Leverkusen because they're hoping in a draw or a Dortmund win. But Bayern was riding a 5-game winning streak until last night, that shocker against Saarbrücken, because they've been solid all year long, as Bayern should be. They only had 1 loss, and that was in the beginning of the year against Leipzig. And we actually bet on them this year. We had a lot of BTTS with Copenhagen and Galatasaray in the Champions League. Both went through. While Dortmund this year has been really solid at home, especially with not conceding too many goals. But after all, this is Dortmund-Bayern. There's a lot of goals in those games. Just look at the previous head-to-head matches. It's been always BTTS and very high-scoring games. I would lean towards BTTS, but the odds are so low. It's currently at 138. I'm going to be riding with Dortmund at home for over 1 goal. The odds are currently at 151. Now, the other Bundesliga game, as a suggestion, it's Union Berlin against Frankfurt. So you already know why I'm not taking this game. It's because Union Berlin is involved. Every single time I took them this year, I lost the bet. And if I took them here as well, I would probably lose it. But hear me out. Now, Union Berlin, 11-game losing streak, and Frankfurt has been really good away with scoring goals. They have scored 12 goals in the last 3 games. And in fact, they actually scored 14 because they played Victoria Köln last night. So it's 14 in 4 games. So surely they can score 1 against Union Berlin. And the odds are currently 175 for Frankfurt over 1 goal. So this is just a suggestion. Good luck if you're going to be taking against Union Berlin, but I'm not. I'm out of this. Guys, this is it for me. We have 9 tips in total. Hope you're happy with them. If you support this channel, hit the thumbs up. Would really appreciate it. And comment down below the picks that you're going to be doing for this weekend. Would love to see them and maybe take them. And I'll be back on Saturday for the second part of the video for the Sunday's picks and the Monday's picks. So bet responsibly, stay healthy, and I'll see you very soon. Adios.